Hi, Claire, and thanks for making it on.
Hi, great to be here.
So first of all, let's talk about what AudioFuel is and how did you come up with the idea for this company?
Well, my colleague Sean had the idea one day when he was jogging along the towpath near where he lives, and he happened to come across a music track that had a beat to match the stride that he was running at. And he suddenly thought, this is incredibly helpful, and I'm sure I could go a lot faster and carry on running for a lot longer if all my music had a beat to match my stride.
Yeah.
And he got together with myself. I've come out of the Virgin Group, so I know about branding and proposition development, and another musician called Howie Saunders, who is in a band called Lunatic Calm. And together we've created a range of music which has beats that exactly match the stride, whether you're jogging and in fact walking all the way up to sprinting.
And so how do you work out what are the best beats to run to, and how do you work with the musicians that actually have to create the music?
That's a good question. At both ends of the spectrum, we're trying to work with real experts. So on the beats side and what you should be running to, from the very start, we've worked with very well-established coaches and athletes. For example, we're working with Liz Yelling's husband, Martin Yelling, at the moment, who's an international standard athlete, to help us work out an entire structure of beats so that people do a professionally designed workout.
Yeah.
On the creation of the music, Howie has taken the lead there. Obviously, the beats is very important, and when we work with artists, we are usually prescribing what beat range, and it's incredibly fast. I'm sure you realise that an awful lot of music is at walking pace, which is about 120 beats per minute, or even slower. So writing our music, which can go up to 170 beats per minute for a high, fast running track, is a very unusual beat to work with.
Yeah.
So that's the first challenge for the artist. But just as important as that is the energy. We've just got some fantastic feedback from an Olympic athlete called Helen Clitheroe. She doesn't need much motivation, but what she says she loves about AudioFuel is the vibe.
Yeah.
So it really helps with our artists if they're prepared to have a go at running, and then they understand the mental state you're in when you're out there trying to keep on going, and how the right kind of energetic vibe can keep you going. That's very important.
So how is AudioFuel distributed today? I know there's a great emphasis on digital distribution, for example.
You're right. We're in fact only digitally distributing our product at the moment.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Because it may be that we get into physical distribution, but when you think about it, no one's going to sit in their living room or in a car and listen to our music unless they want to have a very strange experience, because listening to music going at that beat when you're standing still it just doesn't really work. It only sounds good and it only works when you're running.
Yeah.
So that means you're always going to put it straight onto your MP3 player. So it seemed pointless to sell it in a CD format. And of course, as a new startup business, there are all the costs involved in creating a physical product. So at the moment, we retail it from our own website, which is audiofuel.co.uk, and we retail it from iTunes, and we retail it from Amazon.
Yeah, and an interesting thing is that you want people to try the product as well. So I've seen in various forums and stuff that you give away a couple of sampler tracks in order for people to actually see if this works for them. So how have the conversion rates been as far as your data goes, in terms of how many people that actually download the sample and people that actually go all the way to buy the digital product?
It does vary according to our marketing initiative, obviously, and the type of the people who are visiting the website. So, for example, we had some coverage on a website called Stumble Upon, which is not at all running focused, and lots of people just came to get the free sample. I don't think they ever had any intention of buying the product.
Yeah.
But when we've been focused on relevant magazines, it's been about between 10 and 12%.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
From people who pick up the sample to people who buy. I mean, what is a much higher number and very impressive is the number of people who come back to get more AudioFuel. Our repeat business is nearly up at 30%, which is huge.
And an interesting, thing is for you guys, because you're a startup, as you mentioned, you probably are thinking of exploring other methods of distributing the audio as well. Is there anything other than a la carte that particularly attracts you at the moment on the digital side of things? Are there any other services that you think might be helpful for you guys to integrate within your offering?
The next thing that we're going to do is to launch an iPhone app.
Okay.
So how that will work is you can download the app for free, and it's like a club.
Yeah.
And for 2 weeks or so, you'll be invited to use it. You'll be asked, how far do you want to run, how fast do you want to run, and then you'll be able to pick any compilation of tracks from the library and download it. And then after you've got to the end of the 2 weeks, you'll be offered the opportunity to subscribe.
Oh, okay, cool.
And pay on a monthly basis, £1 or £2 to have access to all our music.
Yeah.
And then nice little incentives with that. For example, we're going to have make it so that if you complete any of our products 25 times and then tweet and Facebook about it, you get to own it.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
and
that's
we'll
great.
start to build in some nice kind of, hopefully as time goes by, we'll work out how to do some good virtual competitions and that kind of thing. That's
a great model because, as you mentioned, people are going to want fresh content, and if they manage to subscribe for a fairly low fee and then get the new music straight away, that could make a lot more sense for them.
As we said, we're small, and our model at the moment on the music front is a bit like a record label, but we own all the rights to all the music that we've ever commissioned.
Yeah.
But we're trying, to find more and more artists to create more and more music in different genres. The artists seem to find it a very interesting challenge to take, a generic sound that they like and then try and shape it into AudioFuel so that it works for running. And we're going into now, cycling's the next sport that we're going to get into. And we're going to try and go into rowing and swimming and all the other sports that have a rhythm.
Yeah, it's an interesting business model because, at a time where record labels are having to try and concentrate on secondary revenue streams because they find it very hard to sell music. You guys have to place a real premium on the idea of people buying the music that's on your site. So it's an interesting experiment to see how people react to that.
People are paying a huge premium relative to a lot of other music. People don't really look at the length of what they're getting. They're just an album, if it's $7.99 on iTunes, is sort of the broadly acceptable price that people are prepared to pay. But of course, we're because there's so much more involved in our product, and there's voiceover coaching put on top, and there's athletes and coaches who help create the actual training programs. We're charging £10 for, say, a 40-minute training product.
Yeah.
And once people have bought it and tried it, they're saying it's incredibly good value.
Yeah.
And I think because we're putting function back into the music, people feel more prepared to pay for it again.
Yeah. And in terms of partnerships, you've been working with the London Marathon, and I'm sure you will be looking forward to the Olympics happening in London in a couple of years. So how did you structure your partnerships, and how are you hoping to use the Olympics as a way to promote the company as well?
There's various ways in which we can work with brand partners. Obviously, one of the great things about working with us, if you're a brand, is that since we own all our music, we own all the rights to it, we can do whatever we like with it. We can chop it up, speed it up, slow it down, put voiceover on top that's relevant to the brand. We can we can create whole products. We could create a 10-week, start to run program for a health food product, for example, and let their brand be highly present all over it. And also another thing that brands are very interested in, of course, is collecting data.
Yeah.
And since we can offer it in a digital format, we've already done a partnership with Triumph, the underwear brand, to help launch their sports underwear range. And we've launched a 40-minute workout, which people have to collect from our website. And that's been a hugely successful way for them to collect email addresses of their community. So that's one type of partnership. Virgin London Marathon, we built an entire website for all the runners in the marathon to go and collect different running playlists, both created by well-known athletes and the AudioFuel product. And that's the basis for that. Hopefully going forward would be an affiliate marketing arrangement. So we're very keen to get together with organisations and brands who share the same audience.
And an important part for you guys is also to tap into the international market, because a product like this that is distributed digitally and it's quite a niche product, it's great for you to be able to actually sell it anywhere pretty much. So have you seen an uptake from international markets?
Yeah, we do see from our iTunes sales that our product is selling around the world. You're quite right. The one sort of small barrier to entry at this point, when we're so small, is the voice coaching, which is obviously at the moment all in English. I think, one of the ways in which we could potentially help roll the product out is to partner with a big brand like, for example, Philips have created a new MP3 playing device that matches music to the person who's exercising, and possibly integrate it with existing technology. And then in the future, it's probably going to maybe be, we'd like to potentially partner with the record industry, and who've obviously got all the channels to market right around the world.
Yeah. And finally, what are your plans for expanding the company? And you mentioned you're going to start working on different types of sports as well.
Yeah, next step is to start expanding into other types of sports. So we're working with Martin Yelling to create a cycling workout. So that and we're planning to work with someone called Matt Roberts, who's a personal trainer, and take the music into the sort of personal training market. So that's one way in which we plan to expand. And really, what we're looking for at the moment is a deal, with a big brand partner who has international reach, whereby we can start to push out the AudioFuel brand and the AudioFuel concept to a wider audience in partnership with a well-known brand. Another thing briefly we haven't talked about is, we have looked at remixing existing music. So
okay.
Obviously there's a whole lot of complication there with rights and licensing, but that's a possibility. We're always keen to talk to artists who would be interested in creating AudioFuel.
Yeah.
And then, obviously very keen to talk to brand partners.
Cool. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. And I look forward to hearing more about AudioFuel in the run-up to the Olympics as well.
Thanks very much.